Rescued cat won't stop crying, then his owner realizes he was trying to say something very sad. Alana Hadley, a lady from Wisconsin, was seeking for a new feline friend after her tabby cat perished. However, finding a new member of her family was not as simple as she had hoped. Although she spotted the cat she wanted to adopt immediately away, he wanted to be with his sister and was prepared to go to any extent to make that happen. What happened next left the whole Hadley family astounded. As many animal lovers are aware, grieving the loss of a cherished pet may be difficult. You just miss your pet, it's tough to break your pattern of taking care of them, and the house feels too quiet. Although no pet can be replaced, when the opportunity arises, many animal lovers search for a new cat or dog to bring home. Hadley went to the Door County campus animal shelter to check what animals were available for adoption. She felt ready to bring a new pet home, but she knew she needed to choose the proper cat for her. She came upon 2 kittens while walking along the row of animals. Her eyes widened as she spotted the tabby kitten. He reminded Hadley of her pet cat. Hadley heard from Humane Society volunteers that the kittens were taken to the shelter right before New Year's Eve. Someone had found the 2 stray kittens and, unable to care for them, had given them over to the shelter so that they may find a decent home. The sister and brother were ready to find their permanent homes after a health check and getting spayed and neutered. Although Hadley had only intended to adopt 1 cat, if any, after seeing the 2 kittens together, she pondered adopting them both. She checked the Wisconsin Humane Society's adoption status and discovered that the brown cat, Aphrodite, was already up for adoption. The tabby, fortunately, was still available. It didn't take Hadley long to realize she wanted to take Aries home with her. Hadley thought about bringing both cats home, but that didn't work out. After completing the paperwork, Hadley was allowed to bring Aries the tabby kitten home to his new family. Hadley, who was overjoyed to welcome their new family member, did everything she could to help Aries feel at ease. Hadley took care of Aries' needs that evening with the help of her family. He had a cozy bed, water, and food, yet he was restless. Hadley claimed he meowed for hours. Finally, tired, he fell asleep in Alan's arms. But it didn't last. According to Hadley, he was almost non-stop meowing until he went to sleep. When he was awake, he meowed again. Was he ill? What may the kitty be trying to say? Knowing Aries had recently had a health check and had all he need, the family worried about what was wrong. While animals typically exhibit indications of worry when introduced to a new setting, many become happy and comfortable once they realize they are no longer in a chilly shelter and have been welcomed into a warm, loving home. Hadley and her family tried all they could to make the cat feel at ease, but he remained restless on his first night. With no other reason, Hadley began to suspect that Aries was missing his sister, Aphrodite. After all, the 2 kittens had gone through a lot, roaming as strays together before being rescued. Aries was probably pleased to have a family, but he was sad to be separated from his sister, with whom he had lived from their early years. Hadley and her family tried to console Aries by offering him stuffed animals, realizing he was probably missing his sister. But they realized it wasn't going to work. The kitty yearned to be reunited with his sibling. Hadley decided to contact the shelter to see what they could do. Although she longed to welcome Aries into her family, they realized that the kitten's happiness came first, even if it meant sending him to another household. Hadley phoned the Wisconsin Humane Society the next day, disappointed, to let them know what was going on with their newly adopted kitty, Aries. She warned them that he wouldn't stop meowing until he was exhausted. And as he awoke, he would begin meowing. They assumed it was because he missed his sister since they had been through so much together. He was concerned about her health. They were reconsidering their adoptive decision. The Wisconsin Humane Society listened to Hadley's account of Aries meowing all day and night, knowing that not all adoptions work well. He hadn't been acting like that while in the shelter, and the volunteer agreed that it may be because he missed his sister, Aphrodite. Surprisingly, the shelter volunteer also had some additional information. They informed Hadley that Aphrodite's planned adoption had fallen through. They decided to bring Aries to the shelter so he might be reunited with his sister. When Hadley discovered that Aphrodite's adoption had fallen through and that the shelter was still holding her, she brought Aries back to be reunited with her. The kitties were overjoyed to have been reunited. Hadley stated they wouldn't stop playing. The two kittens were not only brothers and sisters but also great pals. It was heartwarming to watch them together. The question then arose, would they still be pleased if they were together in Hadley's house? Hadley opted to adopt Aphrodite after seeing the two cats play together at the shelter. When she first saw the two kittens together, she believed they should be together. Her instincts were correct, and they now had a second chance to be together. When Aries and Aphrodite arrived at Hadley's house in Wisconsin, they ran about like best friends. The family was overjoyed to see the kittens happy, especially Aries, who had been unhappy there earlier.